Nice. Right, a couple of days back we did a video about the tomb of Jehoshaphat, which was burnt by the Arabs in Jerusalem. Now this is a bigger article I found. It's got more info on the events that took place a couple of days back. Right, so an initial investigation by firefighters points to unknown persons setting fire to Absalom's tomb in the Kidron Valley, opposite the Temple Mount and the adjacent tomb of Jehoshaphat. The tombs are among a cluster of ancient graves at the base of the Mount of Olives, dating to the Second Temple period. No, actually it was the temple of Jehoshaphat which was burnt, not the tomb of Absalom. Now, the tomb of Absalom looks like a pyramid. It's got a weird... right, it's traditionally... The Absalom's tomb is traditionally identified as a monument to the biblical figure of the same name, Absalom. But archaeologists have dated the edifice to the 1st century AD. The fires broke out at about 4:15 p.m. on Friday and caused extensive damages to the 2,000-year-old structures. That's what Asaf Abraham said, the administrator of the Israeli Park. Right, and he said in a statement that the blazes caused damage to values of historic heritage and archaeological gems of great value. Right, it will act to the extent of our abilities, law enforcement, including the police, to find those responsible and bring them to justice, he said. 3 other suspected arson attacks targeting municipal sewage trucks took place in East Jerusalem that night, but there was no indication whether there was any collaboration between the fires and the suspected attack on the ancient tombs. Now, as we're talking, parts of Haifa have been burnt by Palestinians in the outskirts of... so the Palestinians, who are being funded by the Saudis, by Qatar, by Turkey, have found new methods to fight the Zionist state. Arson. Right. So this took place. So burning the temple of Jehoshaphat, which is to the left of the pyramid-style tomb of Absalom, was the first indication of this arson. So they burnt the ancient tomb and then they went on to burn houses or whatever it was in Haifa. Right. A few historical facts about the tomb. Absalom's tomb is just a little further north of the 3 previously mentioned tombs in the Kidron Valley. It was constructed during Jesus' lifetime. Today it's traditionally called the Pillar of Absalom, or Absalom's Monument. The Bordeaux pilgrim referred it to as the tomb of Hezekiah in 33 AD. It was first associated with Absalom by Benjamin of Tudela in 170 because of 2 Samuels. The actual personal family for whom this tomb was prepared is unknown. We're talking about Roman times, not the son of David, Absalom, the son of David. Now the architectural, it's got the name of the son of David, but it was built for another person. Right. So the architectural style includes both Egyptian and Greek influences, which would have come from the 2 kingdoms that dominated Judea between 300 and 100 AD. That's the Ptolemaic and the Seleucid Empire. Right. The Egyptian influence came from the Ptolemies of Egypt, and the Hellenistic style from the Seleucids, who were Greeks ruling Syria at the time. Now the lower square is cut from the bedrock. It's topped with a finely cut circular stone with a conical top that was cut from one single stone. Directly to the left of this tomb is an 8-chamber catacomb with well-preserved carved stone. Now the catacomb is called the cave of Jehoshaphat. Now it was the cave of Jehoshaphat that was burnt by the Palestinian Arabs. The Pillar of Absalom may have been a monument for the burial chambers of the cave of Jehoshaphat cut in the cliff behind it. Now there are 2 inscriptions to this monument. A 2-line inscription above the door is from 400 AD and it says, "This is the tomb of Zachari Martin, most holy priest, father of John the Baptist." Now later inscription can be seen on the right of the door, but on the words Simon can be made out. Now neither inscription is historically valuable or accurate. Absalom's monument, a pillar, has been erected by Absalom in the lower plain of the kings, the lower plain of Sabet, or the Kidron Valley. It was erected anyway, and in truth, Absalom, the son of David, who was killed, was not buried at the place of this monument, but was left in a hollow in the forest of Ephraim. It's been called erroneously the tomb of Absalom, but its architecture indicates from the Greco-Roman period because of the time of Herod. So there's no basis for associating the name of Absalom with this pyramid-style tomb, or the one next to it, adjacent to it, the tomb of Jehoshaphat. Alright, the tombs are among a cluster of ancient graves at the base of the Mount of Olives, dating to the Second Temple period. Absalom's tomb is traditionally identified as a monument of the biblical figure the same name, but archaeologists have dated the edifice to the 1st century CE. So I've gathered a couple of articles on the fact, and I put them together and I just read them. So, the Palestinian Arabs have burnt the catacomb tomb of Jehoshaphat, which is next to the pyramid-style tomb of Absalom, and that was the first case of arson, and then came the burning of the outskirts of Haifa and Haifa itself by the arsonists. And Netanyahu has apprehended several of these Palestinian Hamas, Fatah arsonists, who are being well paid by Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Turkey, and other Islamic groups. We must emphasize on the fact that Hamas and Fatah are nothing else but ISIS, Al-Qaeda affiliates. There's no difference between Hamas, Fatah, and ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They're fanatic Islamists, and they want to destroy America, they want to destroy Europe, and they want to destroy Israel, because they hate what Israel, America, and Europe stands for. They want the caliphate of Muhammad, the 7th century AD. That's what they want. Right. Yasser Arafat, crazy. Well, here we see the tomb of Jewish king Jehoshaphat, burnt by arson by pseudo-Palestinian terrorists. So the Arab terrorists went into the Kidron Valley. So this is the tomb monument of Absalom, this pyramid sort of tomb. And on the left hand we see the rock tomb of Jehoshaphat, the king. And so they somehow got on the left hand of the tomb of Absalom, and they burnt the rock tomb of Jehoshaphat on the left hand that we see right here. And we all know who did it and why.